Random hair.
Please edit that in. That's a good one.
Hey guys, I'm Corey.
And I'm Taylor.
We are two members, I guess, of that one fam. And
not even half.
Not even half
the members.
Not.
So many kids.
But size-wise, easily half by myself. And then you're helping out. Definitely.
We can take them.
I think between you and I, if we think mass.
Yeah.
3/4 of that
if
one
we're trying
fam.
to take them out, we got the advantage.
Sit down. So anyway, today we're going to do something a little different. No kids today. So in the last video, or one of the last videos, Brantley and I were talking about how we are originally from Illinois. So I, Brantley, and Jackson are from Illinois, North Central Illinois. Taylor, you're from?
Pennsylvania.
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Okay. Emma also from Pennsylvania, born and raised.
Also, as far as I know.
Emma's from Pennsylvania, born and raised. But what we're gonna do here is, so I've been living in the state for what, about 6 months now? So. You've actually only been to Illinois once, correct?
One time.
When that was with me and the boys.
It's my first time.
And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about some of the things I've noticed that are different in Pennsylvania from Illinois, and then some of the things she noticed that were different, some of the things I like. I mean, we can touch on some of the things we didn't like some of the things maybe she didn't particularly care for, but at least where we were in Illinois. Obviously, Pennsylvania is a big state, Illinois is a big state, and you saw a very small percentage of it, as have I. So this is based on our experiences, so this might not be true for everybody. You were born, I wouldn't say in a massive city by any means, but you're in a busy area, a bigger city. Yeah. I am from the cornfields of Illinois, so
there's nothing there.
There's not much there. Now, I'm not saying I've never been to Chicago. I've been to Chicago a lot, but that is not my main experiences. My main experiences are country living.
Not me.
Right. So very polar opposites, basically, is what I'm getting at on at least where we lived growing up. Okay. Do you want to start? Some of the things you noticed that were different in Illinois? Anything from food, landscape, architecture, the people?
Like everything.
It is quite different.
It's super different. Like, just something little, you can pump your gas before you pay for it.
Yes, so
weird. You can't do that.
Yeah.
They trust you in Illinois.
Well, okay.
They have
so
to.
They do.
Weird.
Where I'm from. So my town has 16. No, absolutely not. Chicago is worse than here, as far as everything's locked up. In Illinois, where I was from, you can go to a gas station and you can pump your gas, and then you can go inside and pay. That's unheard of here. And I was actually, that's funny you brought that up, because I was super pissed when I was like, what do you mean I have to go inside and pay? Like, I haven't even pumped yet. And she looked at me like I was stupid. Like, well, of course you do. What's to stop you from stealing it? And I'm thinking, well, being a good person. But apparently that doesn't matter. Like, so yes, it's funny you brought that up, because that actually was a giant complaint. I'm used to it now, but that was a giant complaint of mine.
What else?
One thing I noticed that's hugely different, that was also, in my opinion, a giant inconvenience. In Illinois, you can go to anywhere. Well, not anywhere. You can go to almost anywhere. Any gas station, Walmart, any sort of store like that, and you can buy beer. You can buy alcohol. Not the case here. And maybe there's some places in Pennsylvania where you can.
It's starting to.
And it is starting. But I've only ever seen maybe 2 gas stations where that was a thing. But you actually have to go to a beer distributor or a liquor store to get wine or, for me, beer. And that is a major
inconvenience.
That is very nicely said. That is a giant inconvenience, because I'm used to, hey, I feel like getting loaded today. I'm going to stop at the gas station while I'm getting my gas that I will pay for after I pump it. And I will buy my beer at the same time. And now, yeah, it's different. It's very different.
We're getting there.
It's slow.
We got Sheets now, some grocery stores.
Right. So that was my first experience. I think I went to Walmart on like day 2 to get whatever. And I was even asking other customers, like, hey, where's the beer at? And they're like, not in the store. And it really, really messed with you.
Across the street.
Not here. So that was something. You're up.
Okay, we have to talk about the pizza.
Okay.
It really bothers me.
So, go on.
Illinois has square... They cut their pizza into squares.
So,
which, listen. That's just weird.
It was weird for you.
No, it's just weird because if you eat pizza, you want to have crust on your piece of pizza. That's not fair to the people that get the crust, and then the other people have to eat the shitty stuff in the middle.
So, with that said...
It just makes zero sense. And then your hands get messy because you need crust to hold on to your pizza. That's how you eat pizza.
So, Pennsylvania, at least where we are, has
here we go.
a watered... I'm not even going to complain.
Here we go.
They have a watered down version of New York pizza, which is... Okay, so Chicago pizza is very thick and delicious and messy. But now, so if you go into Chicago, you're less likely to find the squares. It's generally looks like a piece of pie because it's so thick.
But how can you eat it on the go? We're busy.
You don't eat it on the go.
You got to.
Food is never meant to be an on-the-go thing. You're supposed to
You're
sit down and
fold
enjoy
it in half and...
That's a sandwich. That's not pizza.
No, you don't fold a sandwich. You make a sandwich.
I mean, when I have a sandwich, I have never had bread, cheese, mayonnaise, lettuce, lunch meat, no bread.
You don't
put
ever
bread
have
on
an
top of
open
it.
face sandwich?
No. Well, yeah,
Well,
but it
yeah,
was, but there's
yeah.
at that point there's still bun around it, so you can.
Yeah, but you don't fold it.
You could.
Do you take your piece of meatloaf and fold it over?
Meatloaf is not a sandwich.
And just anything. You're not supposed to do that. Anyways.
End of the day, the pizza's very different, and that was also different for me. Now, with that said, what was your favorite pizza when we were in Illinois? Do you remember the name of the little place?
I don't know, but it was a gas station. Super weird.
So it's called Casey's General Store.
Yes. Look, I got it.
Yes.
Casey's General Store. Hashtag Casey's General Store.
Mm-hmm.
Look them up. Go there. Get their pizza. Yes.
Unfortunately, there is no Casey's in the entire state of Pennsylvania.
No.
I looked. Because that's a staple in small town Midwest cities, towns, villages, frankly.
But you don't have like sheets.
We don't. We do not have a Sheetz. We do not have, at least not that I know of, a Rutter's. Any of the bigger chains around here. But on the flip side, Shell is a big chain out there, and I have only seen maybe one or two out here. Not many. So there's no Casey's, no Shell, or not many. I haven't really even seen too many mobiles.
There's a few.
Is there a few?
Yeah.
The big ones here are like Sheetz and Rutter's, and what's the other thing? I can't remember. Turkey Hill. So those are the big ones here that I've noticed. Now, admittedly, I've only been here 6 months. The big ones where I'm from, and again, you get into Chicago, it's different. You get into the major cities, it's different. But the big ones are Mobile, Shell, Citgo. That's pretty much it. Those are the big ones. And Casey's. So yeah, that's different.
What else?
So,
I'm nervous.
I'm trying to
I
think.
just don't know what's going to come out right now.
I gotta tell you, again, small town, so I can't claim the Chicago driving or anything like that. But even in the small towns, it just seems like, I'm going to say specifically in my small town, the drivers just seem more competent.
I thought we weren't going to talk shit on
I'm not
states.
talking.
I mean,
not.
You are. You just told us we're incompetent
I
drivers.
am not.
I'm like...
I'm saying more competent. So I am... When I am on the highway and I am trying to get it, nobody else wants to get it. There's the far left lane. Everybody knows that's the hammer lane.
Don't forget, everything's under construction, too, at all times.
Illinois
no matter what.
is also the same.
Same?
Though.
I didn't.
Yes.
I didn't notice that.
So Illinois, I've always made the joke that our state flower is the traffic cone, because they just pop up every spring and they don't wilt until winter. But yeah, it's just the driving is definitely different. And in Chicago, if you've ever driven in Chicago, they're their own kind of drivers. Even getting towards the city, they're their own kind of drivers. And here is just like nobody's ever in a hurry to go anywhere. They just not. Like, I don't know if they're very flexible on what time they can be to work, but I absolutely hate. I don't know. That is one of my bigger pet peeves of the state of Pennsylvania. Is the drivers, as a whole, just don't seem to be as.
Except for me.
You drive like you're insane.
Awesome. But who wrecked the car?
Neither here nor there. Anyway, you're up. We probably got time for one or two more.
I don't know. The fact that everything's way more expensive here. Milk's double the price.
So I was paying less than, or let's call it $1, because it was averaging $1. Sometimes they paid less, sometimes they paid slightly more.
$1 for milk?
A gallon, yes.
Less than $1 sometimes.
I had paid as little as like 89 cents, 90 cents,
That's
yeah.
insane. I
But
didn't know it was that cheap.
to be fair, Illinois, where I was, is almost exclusively farmland.
Is corn cheaper?
No, not really.
Why?
It hovers about $1 a can. Well, because, okay, so that's such a huge operation that's probably distributed. Now, if you're in Alaska, yeah, the prices are going to be higher because they have to fly a bunch of shit in and they can only truck stuff in certain times of the year, really. But no, I think, like, most veggies seem to be about the same price. I was really surprised that gas is actually pretty similar. And right before I moved here, so I have a Juul here, but I have a bad habit that sometimes I do buy cigarettes. I was actually really surprised the cigarettes were pretty close to the same price. Like, it wasn't enough that I noticed a difference. It might be a couple cents more or less. After saying that, Illinois has just raised the taxes on cigarettes like a huge amount. So that probably helped even it out. I must have been used to it at that point. Gas is very similarly priced. You're right. Milk is more expensive here. Eggs are surprisingly more expensive here.
Housing?
Well, okay. So anytime you get into a metropolitan area, you'll have that. Again, I can't stress to you. Yeah, I can't stress enough that I was out. There's not much.
Just
I mean,
nothing.
The town I lived in was the biggest town for about an hour drive in any direction, and we had 16,000 people. So it was not huge by any means. It was bigger than some, but not massive. We were the hub.
There's like nothing to do there either.
That is a downside of small town. So at one time we had a theater, and it's actually kind of a sad story. The family, I believe the owner and his wife, I believe the wife got cancer or something like that. And they just couldn't keep it up. And so now it's caving in, which is sad. That's it. We have an old bowling alley. And now that everybody's on phones and video games and there's cooler things to do, people don't do that stuff as much, and it's starting to fail because of it. Like, it's still up and operational, but it just is not the same as it was when I was younger. And unfortunately, those things happen. And that's just kind of how it goes. But you're right, there's not much to do, and unfortunately, that's why kids keep getting in trouble. Because there's nothing to do but bad things they shouldn't be doing. I was one of them, I know. You know.
Yeah.
So that is one thing.
But we feel the same here. Like, we think there's absolutely nothing to do. Like, someone comes here and says, what's there to do? And we say, nothing. Like, there's nothing here.
So I will say, like, there's not much to do for free. But that's true anywhere you go.
Yeah.
There are a lot of parks here. And it's a bigger area, so it probably seems like there's more parks, even though the town I am from had a ton of parks. Per capita, it was huge. Like, it was astronomical per person.
Yeah, but your parks consisted of one bench and a swing.
Well, so I mean, there was a couple that were that way, but most of them were at very least had like ball diamonds and pavilions. There's one that was donated to the city by the founder's family, and it's like 1,000 acres or something. It's huge. I don't know. Yeah, I think we went through Lowell, going with the overlook where you could drive by. Yeah, so that's a huge park, and that whole thing is one park. So there's some cool stuff, and there are some small ones, you know, but. I feel like they were just chasing that trophy because, like, we are one of the most parks per capita in like the whole state, I think, in that town.
They were like, put another bench down. We gotta win this.
Get this? We got nothing. My town. So I'll say it because I don't live there anymore. Dixon, Illinois. You might have heard of it. We are famous for a few things. We are the boyhood home of Ronald Reagan. He was the president behind the failed DARE program. Just kidding. I'm not kidding. It failed horribly. Sorry, Nancy. But number 2, we were the largest government embezzlement in U.S. history.
Awesome.
She embezzled $53 million over the course of 20 years.
Awesome.
Very cool. And we have the penis with wings statue. It's a finger with wings, but it looks like an erect penis.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. That's what we got. I'm trying to think of anything else I've got really offhand. Do you have any more? The architecture here. No, there are older parts of where we live. There's older neighborhoods, but
Yours
generally,
is like old.
So yeah,
like all of it.
So yeah,
At least in Dixon.
Mm-hmm. So like, it's kind of neat. I think it's kind of neat. You're more for modern things. I like modern, but I also can appreciate, you know, the older stuff. But it's kind of neat because some of the old buildings down Main Street, they're the original masonry and stuff, right? So it still says like 18 whatever year it was built. To me, that's kind of cool. We have, at one point in time, Dixon had 2 high schools, the north side and the south side. So they turned the south side into like a museum. Next time we go to Illinois, I'll show you, because you can go through and it actually shows you pictures of it before where there was no bridges, you had to ferry across and stuff. I think that stuff's neat. I mean, obviously impractical today, but it's neat to see the humble beginnings that it came from. At one point in time, this town was, I'm sure, very similar. They all had to start there at some point. We obviously just got started later. You're one of the original 13. We weren't for, you know, a few years afterwards. So we're behind you guys. But overall, I'm happy with Pennsylvania. For the most part, of course, there's no perfect place, you know. But I mean, I'm happy.
Be. We just might not have found it yet.
We're gonna need a lot more views and start catching those YouTube checks before we can find that perfect place.
Maybe.
We're gonna need a few. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I don't think so. I can't think of anything.
Can't think of anything. I'm with you. Yeah, just give it a second. We can edit around that. Yeah, so I can't really think of anything either. I do want to ask if we have a little list of some video ideas we'd like to do, most of them involving the kids, some of them just you and I, things we think would be funny. Maybe we'll get some friends involved. I think that could be fun.
Could be a disaster.
It could be a disaster, which might make for great YouTube.
True. Never know.
Maybe that's what these folks want, is just to see the world burn with us.
Complete disaster.
But if you guys have any suggestions...
recorded yesterday.
Oh, why don't we talk about yesterday? What happened yesterday?
Well, I got sick, and Emma got sick, and Jackson got sick. So it was just a puke fest all over the house.
Pretty gross.
Corey probably washed sheets about 4 times.
Easily.
Just cleaning up poop and puke all day long. Trying not to puke myself because I'm still sick, and it's just
tough.
Not a good time.
It was tough.
It was not a good time.
And I felt for everybody being sick. With that said, I have a very weak stomach myself. So while I'm trying very hard to be helpful, because Mama Bear's down, she's down. Papa Bear was not prepared for the
exorcism.
I'm telling you.
And it was green. Jackson.
I just about called in a priest to bless this home. It was, and I don't even, that ain't me. We'll leave it at that. That ain't me.
It almost happened.
But I digress. But yeah.
Anyways.
If you have any video ideas that don't involve me washing sheets that are just covered in gross.
I mean, if they do, still let us know.
I would.
I mean.
I'm not going to like that comment.
Be down.
I'm not going to thumb up the comment.
I will. You win some, you lose some.
Dang.
You know?
I think that's all we got.
Alright.
Alright, guys. So,
till next time.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you made it this far. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.